All right, guys, what is up? Welcome to another episode of the Batter's Eye Podcast. I'm Aiden. I'm here with Max, and we got a big guest today. Introduce yourself. Take a minute to talk about yourself.
What's up, everyone? My name is Drew Baker. I am a minor league baseball player in the Tampa Bay Rays organization. I originally from Houston, Texas, born and raised. I got drafted to the Rays in 2021 out of Texas Tech University, where I played for 3 years. So super excited to be on today, excited to answer some questions.
So let's get right into it. First thing I want to ask you is kind of about your, ascension through the minor leagues. You started off in rookie ball and low A, and you were doing really well, and you moved up this year before you got injured, and you've been climbing the ranks pretty fast. How's the adjustment been through each league, and the traveling and the speed of the game and the competition? What's that like?
I think at every level, and people have said this kind of growing up your whole life, at every level, as you increase every level, the speed increases a lot. And it's kind of an adjustment to where you know how to play the game of baseball. You've gotten to this level for a reason. Now it's just time to kind of allow yourself to slow the game down. And once you get to the point where you're able to control your breath and slow the game down, it kind of starts to where it's fun again. It's baseball, and now I can just relax and play. But the travel kind of gets you sometimes. In college, there's a little bit of travel involved, but once you get especially when I got up to high A this year, that's like one of the worst travel leagues in the country. And there's a lot of late nights. There's a lot of I wouldn't say as much early mornings because you get to play in the afternoon, which is nice. But there's always a point in the travel where you start to learn to take care of your body and what you need to do in order to be prepared for the next day as best as you can be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you definitely kind of touched on something that I noticed, and just even playing through, Little League, high school, wherever you travel ball, the speed of the game definitely changes because the competition gets so much better and experienced. Yeah. And, as someone like you who's kind of just climbing up the ranks, playing these levels for the first time, which obviously, you played at one of the best colleges in the country. You're playing in one of the best minor league systems and organizations where they're developing you very well. But everything changes as it goes up the level. And what's if you could think of one big thing in the game, maybe not just the travel, but throughout the game of baseball that's changed the most, what might that be, maybe other than the speed?
Consistency. You see a lot of guys at the lower levels with an incredible amount of talent, but are unable to kind of solidify that and be consistent enough with it to be able to provide a result on the field. And as I've played through rookie ball and low A, and when I got up to high A this year, is a big adjustment as far as, the pitchers don't miss as much. You get into low A and rookie ball, and this stuff is really good, but there's still a lot of mistakes being made. I got up to high A this year, and it felt like I didn't get a mistake pitch for a month and a half. It's just the consistency, and that just goes towards the work and the amount of hours they've put in, and especially get to that level. It's just being consistent and doing little things correctly is probably the biggest deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that definitely shows the change, and you can see it through a lot of these guys, and especially guys going through rehab stints, kind of climbing up the ranks. You see it.
Yeah. So Drew, I'm always interested to talk to minor leaguers because I just did a pretty big school project about digging into the life of a minor leaguer and some of the grind that has to go with it, and how they're relatively underpaid than what they should be paying. So I was advocating for higher pay, higher living conditions. So can you just share your experience, what it was like living and playing minor league baseball, and how have you seen any improvement over the last year or two? Or is there stuff you would wish that could be improved as well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's always going to be different sides to every story. I think the biggest part that has helped us a lot is the living arrangements this year. Them being able to pay for our living arrangements takes a lot of pressure off of young guys just getting into pro ball, and also older guys have been in there for a while with a family and kids to support. So them being able to, provide living for the kids and the family, and also pay for that living as well has been a huge jump in morale for a lot of minor league players, to say the least. As far as pay, I think it's a little different for me. I don't have bills to pay. I don't have, families to support. But for those older guys with families, it definitely, the money gets a little tight for them. But I think there's a lot of people advocating out there right now for minor leaguers. I think it's becoming more aware. I wouldn't say of this problem because I don't necessarily see it as too much of a problem, but I think there's a lot of people advocating and it's going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And, the MLB continues to make strides, and I think people slowly are seeing that, especially when we hear guys like you come on and say, and, reassure us that that's happening.
Going a little bit back in time, I see that you're born and raised in Texas, and then you end up going to Texas Tech. So was that like your dream school? Like growing up, did you know you wanted to play baseball there? And how was it like? And how was it like playing baseball there?
Oh, yeah. The experience in Lubbock and Texas Tech itself was an incredible 3 years. I love the coaching staff. I love the atmosphere of not even just the players and the athletes there, but the students who supported us all 3 years I was there. And then the town itself is it's Texas Tech University. Like Lubbock is Texas Tech University. So it's always really great to see kind of a town and a community come around a college, which I got a lot of, and I'm blessed I got that. It was not my dream school, I will say that. My dad grew up in Austin. I watched a lot of Texas Longhorn football and baseball games growing up, and my grandparents still live around that area. So that was kind of the dream school going in. I would say Ole Miss kind of was too. I don't know why Ole Miss, but there was a lot of hype around them, I guess, when I was getting recruited. So that was kind of one of my dream schools. But Texas Tech ended up being my dream school, man. I loved every second of it.
That's awesome. And I want to dive into your time a little bit at Texas Tech. You started as a freshman off the gates, and they trusted you. They handed you the keys, and you played great. And you showed that consistency throughout your years at Texas Tech. Going into the draft, I mean, what did you do at Texas Tech that you kind of ramped yourself up preparing for pro ball? Because after your freshman season, you had to kind of think it was, coming really fast at you because you had one of the best freshman seasons that year. You had one of the best seasons in general that year, just all around college baseball, and you followed it up again in your junior year before you got drafted. So what was going through your mind as you were training in the off seasons, and then leading up to that draft in June that year?
I think in college it's always kind of it's kind of a weird deal to, especially in your sophomore and junior year, you start thinking about it coming up. And one of the things that I've talked with my dad forever is when I'm on a team, my job is to help them win. So my work in the off season, including everything up to my junior year, was in one goal, and was to win the College World Series. And that was just me trying to get myself bigger, faster, stronger for my team. And I think that is part of the reason I kept part of the reason I did so well is because I kept kind of a cool mantra about it, and it just I just pushed for my team at Texas Tech, and I think that's one of the reasons I did well, and I kind of didn't really have any nervousness going into the next year, which is it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with some of the stuff that you're saying, where it's like your job is to help the team win, and you see a lot of, it's just athletes in general kind of astray from that in today's day and age. So I feel like it's nice to always hear that kind of down to the ground answer.
Cool.
Max, you want to talk about the injury?
Oh yeah. So obviously one of the main things that we want to talk about is, you got Tommy John this year, and I know Tommy John, it could be tough in the rehab process, but I also know that players come back even better than how they were before, especially pitchers. So if you could share your experiences with, getting Tommy John and how the rehab is going right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I got the surgery a little over 2 weeks ago, and it went into the surgery waking up with a 6 month recovery or a 10 month recovery. We weren't sure what surgery we were going to do yet. Ended up getting the shorter recovery surgery. Just got the repair and brace, so I'll be back in time for spring training, which I'm very excited about. As far as just Tommy John and any injury, yeah, I think it's all about the mindset. I think going into it and going into your rehab, if you take it as a bad thing, then the rehab's not going to go as well. If you take it as, you know what, this is just something I kind of got to get through, and that's kind of the motto I'm going with. I think it's just another step in my career for me, and I think I'll be better on the other side. So I think as far as this injury, and like I said, all the injuries, the mindset is that it's the most powerful tool you can use.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, what's your mindset right now? What are you looking at for, recovery to kind of start back throwing again? Is that just 6 months on everything? Like
I think it's 6 months fully for a full recovery. So I'll be able to start hitting and throwing at 3 months. So towards the end of October. So I'm kind of counting down the days already.
That's great to hear, because you'll be back before the next season comes. You'll continue to climb the ranks. By the end of the year, you'll be up with the bigs. I mean, you were on that track to come up there pretty soon. You're going to keep going. Now, I want to talk about something that is a moment you're probably never going to forget. You got drafted in the 4th round, 130th pick. For those of you guys who don't know, the MLB draft that year was 7 rounds. How many rounds was it?
In 2021, it was 20 rounds.
It was back to 20 rounds.
Yes.
Okay. So there's about 490 picks in a 20-round MLB draft, something like that. And you were drafted in the 4th round, 130th pick. What was the call like when you got that call saying that you were going to be selected by Tampa? What was going through your head? And just like, what was that emotion like?
It was pretty surreal. I never wanted to make too big of a deal about it because I didn't want to psych myself out more than anybody else. It was just me and my dad sitting in the living room that morning. I think it was a Monday morning or Tuesday morning. But it was kind of a stressful time that morning. I woke up, 2nd round started, and there were like 2 or 3 teams that I was pretty sure I was going to go to. I had talked to them the most, had done the most work with them, kind of deal, went to a few pre-draft workouts. And the Rays were not one of those teams. I talked to the Rays, I think the day before the draft, and that was the only time I had spoken to them. So I was like, oh, okay, it was kind of a courtesy call. But through the 3rd and 4th round, I had gotten a couple calls, and then finally in the 4th, when my agent called me and said the Rays are going to select you, it was kind of just a very surreal moment. And you've worked your whole life, and not many people get this opportunity in general. So to share that with my dad, who's been my biggest supporter throughout this all, and especially my mom showed up like right after I got drafted, so she was upset she missed it, but kind of glad she could still enjoy the moment. But to be able to celebrate with those two was one of the best moments I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, and so here's something I'm going to talk to you about a little bit. Just for those of you guys who watch the channel, you guys do know I have the prospect series where I talk to high school seniors who are major, draft prospects are looking to go to pro ball. And the moment for them is huge, because to not go to college and to get drafted into pro ball is something that you can pretty much only do in baseball. Mm-hmm. And to have that kind of moment for these guys is huge. And I think, like you said, not to let the moment get to your head, but for those people who watch, because I know some of the kids that were on that do watch the channel, what's something that you could say to them, maybe some advice that you could give to them just about the process and about getting drafted?
Yeah, I mean, the draft is a stressful process. There's a lot of things you got to go through, a lot of phone calls you have to be on to try to impress people. And I think that's one of the biggest issues is people always say kind of what they think the team wants to hear. And I think the biggest deal is just kind of being yourself. I think the team is going to find you that wants you and wants you for yourself and wants your skill set. So I think the most important thing is kind of to just trust the process and let it happen itself, because once you get in the pro ball, then it's just smooth sailing.
Yeah, that's good advice. So if any of you guys from the 2023 series are watching, you guys are going to get drafted this year. listen to what Drew has to say. I mean, he's been through it once already, and he's climbing up the ranks. Like I said. Now here's a fun story. I got in touch with Drew. This is just yesterday, so you know it. Max knows it, but you guys are gonna know this now. Back in Boston 3 weeks ago, got a box of Panini baseball cards, 2021 draft picks. It was an expensive box. It was $100 box, 5 autographs, all these rookie guys. Now, this is the card I got. Got in touch with these guys. So,
nice.
What are you thinking? What do you think? What are we rating this card? Do you like it?
You know what? I wish I could have a professional picture on there. That is one of the good pictures from Texas Tech. Actually, I think that's a picture from my freshman year because I remember that's the bat I used my freshman year. But I think that card art is really, really cool. I've only seen a few of those, so that's a really cool card.
So it says Baker. So here we'll read the description of it. Baker does not stay in one place for very long. Once he gets a board. Unfortunately for opposing batteries, he gets a board often. As a Texas Tech junior in 2021, the busy batsman posted a .406 on base percentage and raced to a team high 18 steals. Numbers like that helped speed up his jaunt into the pro ranks with Tampa Bay. Accurate description. We like it.
I think it's pretty accurate, man. I like to run the bases. I think my whole hitting philosophy, to be honest, is just hit the ball hard. I'm a speed guy. I want to get on base, and I kind of want to make something happen for the offense. So I think my greatest threat is just getting on first base, and I think that plays in my hitting philosophy pretty well.
Gotcha. I like that, and I think it showed in Texas. I mean, it was a 340 or something like that, 330 average, 400 on base percentage, stole bases, hit. You were a very big piece for that team that was ranked top 10 team in the nation. I mean, what was that culture like playing baseball there? Because obviously you guys won a lot.
No, it was really fun, and I think what made it so fun and made our teams gel together so well is that we were all just very relaxed, just kind of like laid back, let's get to work, guys. And it showed out on the field. There was never a situation that was too big because we were so close together as a team that we trusted in one another at every pitch. And I think that's what led us most to our success. And I think that's more to it shows a lot from the coach's side. And I think there's a lot of, from what I've experienced, there's a lot of college coaches out there that have a lot of what to do day in, day out of what their kids do with their life. And I think that one of the great things about Texas Tech is that they kind of let us figure out our life in college. They weren't on top of us all the time, but as long as we were at the field, we were getting work done. I think that's what the best thing about it was.
That's awesome. Yeah. So before we get into some rapid fire questions, I'm going to bring this up with you because I'm trying to collect some cool stuff for a studio. I have this card. What's the chances I send it over, get it signed, and I get some nice memorabilia for the studio?
Oh yeah, 100%. I can send you the address right after this.
I'll have it over there in a few days. Then I think we'll get something for that.
All right, sounds good.
Drew, actually, I want to ask you about the cards, and I see I'm a big baseball card collector, and I see that you signed a bunch of cards for Panini. So I just want to ask what that was like getting signing a deal with Panini and signing your own cards.
It was definitely cool. It kind of happened pretty soon after the draft, and I was like, this is what pro ball is going to be. People are I can just sign signatures for money. It was definitely a stressful situation because they sent me 6,000 of those things I had to sign. And I was like, you know what? I just need to get this out of the way as soon as possible. But a few hand cramps later, we got it all done. But it's pretty cool, just to send those back and get those out there to the public for other people to kind of collect and use and look back on.
Really? And I didn't get one that was signed?
Yeah. You'll get one soon.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Wait, have you just done ones with Panini, or have you done Topps as well?
I have signed a contract with Topps. I have not signed anything for them yet, though.
Oh, all right.
So I think that'll be coming. I think that the Topps deal is like a 2-year kind of deal. It's kind of spread out, so it's not all in one spot. So I think those should be coming pretty soon.
Max, we might have to buy some boxes.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, we might have to buy
The thing
some
about Panini
boxes.
is like they don't have they're not licensed with the MLB. So I think personally, like if I was a player, I would love to sign Topps cards because like it has the actual logos and stuff on it.
Yeah, the Topps contract was a pretty cool deal.
Yeah.
That sounds sick. And these ones have all the college logos and all that. Like, well, still a pretty nice box.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna end off like we normally do with some rapid fire questions. Last episode, these questions got us pretty heated. We got pretty heated. But I'll try and level my energy for this one. We'll start off with the most talented pitcher you face. It doesn't have to be minors, it can be anywhere.
Talented pitcher I'd face. I would probably say I got to face Alek Manoah my freshman year at Texas Tech when he was a junior at West Virginia. And he threw a 9-inning shutout against us in like 136 pitches, and the last pitch of the game was like 97.4 miles an hour. It was one of the most dominant pitching performances I've seen. I think we had 4 hits, and I think our leadoff Gabe Holt had 3 infield hits. So if that says anything about that game, then you can kind of tell we were struggling a little bit with him. But his presence on the mound and his ability to locate in and out with his fastball at all times was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that sounds like pretty tough.
Yeah, as a Yankee fan, we know Alek Manoah is very.
Yeah. He made the debut against y'all.
Yeah, that was rough. I think Max. I think he's actually on the mound Friday.
Oh, really? Oh yeah, me and Nathan are going. We got sweet tickets to the Yankee game on Friday. So
Awesome. I've been to one Yankees game. I think I was 12 years old. But my hitting coach growing up, he was Carl Crawford's hitting coach, and that's when Carl Crawford had just left the Rays, went to the Red Sox, signed that big deal. And he had gotten us those tickets, so it was only right for us to cheer for the Red Sox because he had gotten us those tickets. But I think the Yankees fans in front of us didn't enjoy that very much.
Oh, well, you're lucky you were only 12 at the time. If you were an adult.
Yeah, I would have probably gotten a little more, yeah.
Max, do you have any rapid fire questions you want to ask, or you want me to go with the next one?
Well, it's not really like a rapid fire one, but we were talking about like your favorite memories, memories getting drafted. I just wanted to know if there's any fun memories that you have during playing minor league baseball. I know it's more like a gritty, like grind type of thing. So is there any cool team bonding moments that you had while this year in the minors?
Oh, absolutely. I think one of the first memories that comes to mind was opening day this year. It was on the team in Charleston this year. It was a lot of guys who was kind of their first game, that game with affiliated ball. They've been in rookie ball, they've been in pro ball, but they hadn't made it to that low A level. And I think that's what made it special is we got to open up the season with a win. And we got to see fireworks on the field after. I think that was a really cool moment for all of us. Ended up being every Friday, but at the time we didn't know that, so we thought it was really cool. I think my second, I think the coolest moment in minor league baseball so far for me was clinching the playoff berth in Bowling Green this year. I wish it was in Bowling Green because we could have gone to a few spots after, but I think just being able to kind of celebrate with the team, and I think it almost kind of it kind of felt good to celebrate on the opposing team's field a little bit because they got to sit there and watch it. But I think that was a really cool moment for everybody involved.
That sounds
great.
Well, the minor league has the first half and then the second half. So
so we ended up clinching that first half berth. So kind of weight was lifted off our shoulders at that point for the second half.
That's fun. Now I have another question. This is going to be more generalized. Who do you think the face of baseball is right now?
I would still have to say Shohei Ohtani. I think it's the fact that I don't think baseball's ever seen a more dominant player. I really don't. I think his ability to kind of hit for power and pitch at the level he's at is incredible to me, and I think he provides some of the most excitement as far as baseball to me.
That's fair. Last episode I was getting hated on for arguing against it being Ohtani or Judge. Like I said it was Ohtani. They were saying Trout. The guest and master saying Trout.
Yeah,
I think the argument for both.
I think if you ask the past couple of years too, there could be some Acuña's coming in there. I think the past couple of years, Tatis has been a big name. But as far as just, it might be kind of an insider looking out. But just the overall skill set that Shohei Ohtani has is just, in my opinion, no question, he's the face of baseball.
So that leads me to asking, do you have Ohtani winning MVP over Judge this year?
I think it depends on how the Yankees end their season, to me. I think Judge has done really well, and I can't say anything because I've never hit 40 homers in the season. That's for dang sure. But I think the way things are going, I think if the Yankees end up doing well throughout the regular season, I think Judge is probably going to win it.
Yeah, I mean, here's my, I wouldn't say argument, but here's my thing: the Angels aren't doing well, and it's like the Yankees are going to make the playoffs. The Yankees are going to make the playoffs. Judge provides more value than Ohtani. Well, now I'm never going to say Judge provides more value than Ohtani because Ohtani does both. But technically, if you want to look at it this season, if you take Judge out of the Yankees lineup, the Yankees are an abysmal team.
Yeah.
If you take Ohtani out of the Angels lineup, they still suck. But they
still on the national team. Yeah.
And nothing changes for the team really, other than you lose a few. You probably lose a couple wins.
Yeah.
But you lose a lot. I think the argument, if you're saying best player, it's Ohtani. Most valuable this year probably is Judge. I think
I could agree with you on that.
Okay. Yeah. I just had to make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah.
I mean, the more you talk about it, the more I'm kind of convinced Ohtani is, because I'm half Japanese personally, and my mom's Japanese, so we're big Shohei Ohtani household fans, and so Ohtani, it's because it's the thing, he's not hitting as well this year, but I think he's literally like, it might be a top 5 Cy Young candidate, which is insane. And it's like, can Aaron Judge get on the mound and throw 100 miles an hour and strike out? But whatever.
I think every year, and I think this is why he's the face of baseball, I think every year there is going to be, whether he has a good year or not, a talk about Shohei winning the MVP. Because
so that's what I want to talk about. Because what do you have to do to beat him to win an MVP? Because Judge is having a historic season. Like he was pacing Barry Bonds all year long. He's cooled off hitting home runs a tiny bit. Now he's pacing Roger Maris.
I think that's one of the most. I think that's what makes it such a big controversy, is because he is having a great year, but there's still a guy on the other side of the U.S. that can do anything and everything at a high level. But like I said, I agree with you that Judge should probably win this year, just because I see kind of an MVP as you see it, and it's the player that provides the most value throughout the league. And I think if Shohei Ohtani was on a lot of other teams, he'd win every single year. But the Angels don't win games, so I think he's still going to be top 3 every year. That's the thing too. It's going to be hard to beat for sure.
Yeah, like what do you have to do to beat Ohtani now? Because your normal great year, which was like you put up 40 home runs, you hit 300, you have 110 RBIs. Most of the time until Ohtani comes in, most of the time you're at least top 2 in MVP voting, unless it's a crazy year. Now he has 46 with 50 games left. He's hitting 300, and people are like, yeah, he probably won't win MVP this year. Like, what are you going to have to do to beat Ohtani now?
The answer to that question is a lot. And I think Judge is on good pace for it, though.
I hope so, because if Judge doesn't win MVP this year, I think things are just going to go crazy.
Especially in New York.
Riots.
Especially in New York.
Win MVP, New York riots.
especially after Altuve kind of robbed him of that one in 2017.
Oh,
I'm not sure if you're an Astros fan. You probably are.
I was growing up, and I think that's one of the interesting things about Texas Tech too. When I was there during that time, was we have a lot of guys from the Dallas area, and the Rangers hate the Astros. The Astros don't really hate the Rangers, but the Rangers hate the Astros. And I got a lot of smack talk after all that came out. And you know what? I was an Astros fan at the time, and I can't say whether they cheat. They obviously cheated. I think it's pretty apparent at that. But them coming at me, I was like, what did I have to do anything with it? You know, like I didn't.
Confirmed it. They cheated. No, I'm not.
But that stretch was fun to watch. That 2017 through even until now, the Astros are still putting up really good numbers. So it's fun to watch still from the hometown team.
Sad. The Yankees haven't been the same since they lost the series to the Astros.
I was definitely watching the Altuve homer live off of Aroldis. I will say that.
Home run wouldn't bother me as much as Chapman didn't smile after it was.
Yeah, that was definitely a weird reaction at the time. Yeah. I probably wouldn't have smiled. So
I don't know. I have no words on any of that anymore. I'm done talking about it. I'm done dealing with it.
The Astros kind of own the Yankees this year, not gonna lie. So
the Astros own the Yankees for the last 6 years.
Yeah.
It's annoying. Altuve, like every time the Yankees get into beef with some players, like whether it's Altuve or like Devers or Mike Brosseau, who is that guy on the Rangers? Yeah. They always come back and bite us. Like I know Altuve hit some big home runs this year. Devers is a Yankee killer. Brosseau up at Chapman. After Chapman threw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball at his head, ends up hitting the go-ahead home run in the Game 5.
Yeah.
Oh man, I think this is the year though. Maybe.
I get less and less confident as they lose each game.
Yeah, they're cooling off a little bit, but they're the talent on that team, I think, will kind of make up for itself.
It'll level itself out. Yeah. I mean, that's really all we had for you. I know, we could talk about baseball for days. I think all of us.
Yeah.
We definitely don't have the time to post a 4-hour video talking about baseball because that would get me. And I need those. So we're going to end it there. Is there anything you want to say before, any advice you want to give to anybody, anything that you want to say for anyone watching?
Yeah, and just kind of touching back on the young guys, and I know you have that little that prospect thing that you're interviewing those high schools, and those guys are big prospects, and could he be in pro ball next year? I think one of the biggest things is just to kind of, like I said throughout the draft process, but when you're in pro ball as well, is to kind of just continue to be yourself. Those guys drafted you at that spot for a reason. They want you in the organization for a reason. Kind of just continue to play how you play. And especially with the older guys, ask questions, man. There's a lot of confusion first couple of days when you get into pro ball. All of these guys were in the same spot as you, and I think it was funny because I got to be here when the new draft class came in this year, and I was like, you know what? I know exactly what these guys are feeling. Just ask questions, continue to be yourself, and keep baseball fun, man.
Mm-hmm. All right, man. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you for giving us your time. And then that's really all we got for you guys. Be sure to go check out Uncensored Sports. The link is in the description. Follow us on Instagram. Max, anything you want to say before we go?
Thank you, Drew. Wishing you the best and speediest recovery, and I'll definitely make sure to buy some of your cards. And we wish you the best of luck for your career. And thanks again for coming on.
I appreciate y'all. Thank you all very much.
Thank you guys so much. Be sure to like this video, comment, subscribe, do all of that. And thank you guys. We'll see you guys next time with The Batter's Eye.